The sole purpose of this video is to provide a basic overview and orientation of your new apparatus. This video is not intended to act as or replace individualized driver-operator training. Individual fire departments may base guidelines, policies, and procedures tailored for best practices. Pierce Manufacturing and Hughes Fire Equipment representatives are not liable for injuries caused from acts resulting from actions inconsistent with the information provided within this video and/or accompanying manuals. Refer to the Operation and Maintenance Manual for complete details relating to the components and features of this apparatus. Only trained personnel should operate this vehicle or perform maintenance. You are responsible for learning how to operate this fire apparatus under all conditions without having to refer to the manual while operating at an emergency incident. This video will discuss types of warnings and caution labels. It is your responsibility to locate and identify each of the labels and understand the importance and associated hazards. Warning labels will point out procedure that must be taken or action that must be avoided to guard against the possibility of serious injury or death. Caution labels will advise you that there is a risk of damage to property if certain precautions are not followed. Continuous training, reviewing of operation and service manuals, developing good standardized practices will assist driver operators with a more complete understanding of the components and operation of this fire apparatus. As the driver operator of this vehicle, you are responsible for understanding the function of each component of the apparatus, maintaining control of the fire apparatus at all times while in operation. Make operational and functional changes while operating at an emergency without having to read operator's instructions or safety warning labels. Operate manual override and emergency shutdown procedures immediately if a component fails to operate properly. Components location may vary with each Pierce fire apparatus. Review the exact location of each component prior to operation. Major inconsistencies between your vehicle and the information contained in this video should be directed to your sales representative. Safe operation of any vehicle is the responsibility of the driver operator. You must learn the location and function of all controls, switches, gauges, valves, inlets, and discharges. Due to a higher center of gravity, heavy trucks have a significantly higher rollover tendency than other types of vehicles. To reduce the risk of rollover, avoid making sharp turns, excessive speed, and avoid abrupt maneuvers. In the event of a rollover crash, an unbelted person is significantly more likely to become injured or die than a person wearing a seatbelt. In the event of a crash, unbuckled occupants can also become a hazard to other occupants, as they may be thrown around inside the cab. Seatbelts are required while in operation. Please refer to your warranty certificates for details and information enclosed in your manuals. Customer-installed equipment must be mounted to withstand road travel and comply with NFPA 1901. Modifications such as drilling holes or welding to structural frame components of the chassis are not permitted. Contact Pierce for instruction and review of non-structural sheet metal or other dissimilar metals for modification. Follow the radio installation guide for further assistance on installing or mounting electronics. Before placing your new apparatus into service, perform a primary inspection of key components of the apparatus, including all fluid levels, anti-lock braking systems, electronic stability control, and automatic traction control. Weigh your apparatus to ensure that it conforms to axle and brake ratings. Never exceed the gross axle rating printed on the label inside the cab. Exceeding these ratings could lead to reduced component life, personal injury, or death. Review the use of auxiliary braking systems, compression brake, exhaust brake, electronic retarder, and hydraulic retarder. Before placing the apparatus in service, refer to the operational maintenance manuals. Information on the operation and maintenance functions for the components such as the pump, pressure governor, and foam systems, along with other options, is provided in either the Pierce manuals and/or other manufacturer support information delivered with the apparatus. If you need more information, please contact Hughes Fire Equipment. Congratulations, Scottsdale, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 35313. Please utilize this 5-digit job number when referencing your apparatus with Hughes Fire Equipment and Pierce Manufacturing. We'll get started on a brief orientation of your new vehicle. Starting on the face of the bumper in the center, you'll find your electronic siren. Moving to the driver's side face of the front bumper, you'll find dual air horns. As we move up onto the cab face, you'll find the outer edges, a marker turn indicator, and just inside that location, you'll find your headlight structure housing low and high beam headlights. As we move just up from that location, you'll find emergency warning lights forward facing. As we move directly behind the Pierce logo, you'll find the release mechanism to gain access into the hood area. Moving up to the windshield, you'll find 3 windshield wipers across the seamless one-piece windshield. As we move to the outer edges on the A and B pillar, you'll find your mirror housing flat and convex mirror and also a convex downward-facing mirror. Up onto the roof of the vehicle, you'll find your emergency warning light bar, and located inside the light bar in the center is your Opticom. Let's go ahead and take a look at the full side view from the driver's perspective, and then we'll go ahead and focus in on the front cab area, first starting with the front axle. Goodyear tires, Alcoa wheels, and also a visual sight gauge for the front axle. As we move to the front of the vehicle, you'll find emergency warning light turn indicator. Moving up from that location, you'll find your door handle, easily accessible with a gloved hand, and it is also a keyed entry. Right next to it, a grab handle for getting access in and out of the cab. Just to the right of that location, you'll find your auto eject shoreline inlet, and also you'll have above that a digital readout. As we move to the rear section of the cab, you'll find the lower emergency warning light, and then all the way up to the very top section, you'll find a side-facing scene light. Let's take a look at some close-ups. First with the auto eject. This is a 20 amp auto eject and also displays a digital readout for your auto charger. Alcoa rims, Goodyear tires, visual sight gauge in the center. As we look under the vehicle, perimeter lighting at all points of entry for personnel. Let's move now to the rear section of the body. We'll start first at the location rear axle slightly in front of it with a marker turn indicator light. As we move up, you'll find a pan door gains us access into this access door. Behind that is where you'll find your water rinse system. As we move to the rear axle, you'll find the ultra low sulfur diesel fill location and DEF fill location. Just beneath that, the lower emergency warning light. And as we move to the very rear section, just beneath the rear compartment, you'll find storage location for your folding wheel chocks. Let's move back to the front where you'll find 2 grab handles. D handle gains you access to a step area, which then allows you to gain access into the roll-up compartment. As we move to the top, emergency warning lights, and then right next to that, you'll find side-facing scene lights. Let's move around now to the rear of the apparatus. We'll start down in the lower left-hand corner in the image with a few warning placards. We'll go over those in just a few moments. Also, as we move directly above that, you'll find an outlet, and then moving further to the right, you'll find an air inlet. Also, you'll find a combination on right and left side, brake, turn, reverse, and emergency warning light, all in a common bezel. Grab handles on each side of the door. As we move up to the very top, you'll find emergency warning lights rear facing. Let's move toward the center where you'll find a backup camera at the very top section, and right next to it you'll find a rear facing scene light. As we move all the way up to the very top, kind of difficult to see in this image, but this is a rollout canopy. Let's move around now to the passenger side of the vehicle. Same rinse water location here, same configuration as we have as the driver and passenger side, except at the very top we do have an additional canopy. Let's move now to the front section of the cab. Same configuration and layout, except you do have an exterior door for gaining access to the rear section of the cab. Let's go back to the very front of the vehicle. We'll start first at the Pierce logo. When you reach behind the Pierce logo, that's where you'll find the release mechanism for the hood. Once you've gained access into the hood areas, we move to the passenger side A-pillar. It's where you'll find the fill location for your windshield wiper fluid. Let's move to the driver's side, where you'll find the fill location for your radiator. And then also you'll find an instruction placard located on the rear wall, in addition with a red lift or lower, and also a remote activation for tilting the cab. Also, you'll have a access hidden location for your door locks. Moving to the right, you'll find a power steering fluid reservoir. Let's go ahead and go inside the cab from the driver's side. As we open the door, the steps will deploy, allowing us to gain access inside. Affixed to the door panel, you'll find all of our safety and warning placard information. You'll also find electric door locks and electric windows, in addition with an access placard in the upper left-hand corner. Door lock and latch, window controls. As we look overhead of the driver's seat, let's first start down at the left knee of the operator. Tech module, engine, transmission, ABS diagnostic ports for your maintenance team. Also ABS diagnostics, engine diagnostics, regen inhibit, and DPF regen switches. Let's move to the steering wheel. We do have controls within the steering wheel for headlights and emergency warning lights and air horn control. On the opposite side, you'll find your emergency warning lights, windshield wiper control, and also air horn. Directly in the center, you'll find your airbag. As we move to the dash area, let's first start on the left-hand side with your four-way flasher hazards. That's the red switch on your left. Then we'll start with ignition and start. EM stands for Emergency Master. It engages and disengages all emergency lights. Moving to the right, your headlights and also a switch labeled panel allows you to brighten and dim lights within preview of the operator. As we move to the opposite side of the steering column, OK to engage the high idle indicator and switch. Moving up to the dash components, transmission, oil, DEF level, and water temp on the right, front and rear air, fuel, and volts. Directly in the center, tachometer and speedometer. Diagnostic information will display above and below the speedometer. Let's move to about the right side of the operator, where you'll find this placard, manufactured for your department. Houses information as the date of manufacture, the 5-digit job number, gross vehicle weight rating, cold tire inflation, the vehicle's VIN number, all of the fluid capacities for the component, fluid capacity type. Let's move up from this location to the dash. Difficult to see in this image, the yellow diamond is the pull-to-applier system parking brake, right next to the steering wheel. As we move further to the right, you'll find a display monitor for your backup camera. Also just to the right of that location, your Allison transmission pad. As we move to the switches, we have an engine brake on and off, and also a settings for low, medium, and high. Moving downward, you'll find the cab nod locked indicator, load manager, generator PTO, and generator PTO engaged. Also a caution information, disengage retarder when on wet or slippery surfaces. As we move to the right, you'll find the speaker for your backup camera. There is a volume control in the very uppermost portion of that speaker. Also mirror control and your main unit radio. Climate control, heat, air conditioning, and defrost located in the center. As we move overhead of the operator's seat, let's first start on the far left-hand side with a few of the switches. First, starting with the Emergency Master, it is the one with the red highlight. Also, roof light, front warning, side warning, lower rear warning, and upper rear warning. Let's move to the right where we'll identify a few more switches within the operator's area. First, starting on the left with the high beam flash, Opticom, which is located in the center of the emergency light bar, driver scene, front scene, passenger scene, and rear scene. When any of those switches have been activated, the indicator within the switch will illuminate. Let's move further to the right where you'll find your siren control and PA speaker module. Moving further to the right in this same field, you'll find the stereo, Bluetooth, Sirius XM, AM FM, weather band, CD player. In the very center, this light is illuminating. It's do not move your apparatus. You have a compartment or door open. Let's move directly in front of the do not move your apparatus light where you'll find the seatbelt information module. Red indicating someone is in the seat and not belted. Green indicating they're in the seat and belted. As we move in between the two front seats, you'll find also a cabinet. On the face of that cabinet, you'll find 110 outlet and also 12-volt access. Let's go ahead and look behind the seat now, where you'll find 12-volt access, both positive and negative. You'll find your unit radio main module and the cab tilt manual handle. Let's move now to the exterior of the compartments. We now have the D-handled drop-down door open and also roll-up compartment doors accessible. In the upper portion, we have SCBA bottle storage. Also, as we move down, additional SCBA bottle storage location. And then as we move at the very bottom section of the shelf, you'll find also an outlet, Shoreline generated outlet, 20 amp. We do have some warning labels here. If you are climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle while doing so. Let's move to the very bottom section. We have a pull-out tray. The release mechanism and lock is located on the very far right-hand side. Here's some close-ups of the items that we just talked about. As we move to the next compartment back, this is a through compartment. Therefore, you do have at the very uppermost shelf a pull-out and tilt downward shelf. As we move downward from this location to the next shelf, this is a pull-out shelf. And at the very bottom section, we have an additional tray release mechanism located on the lower right side. As we move to the center, directly over the axle, this is where you're going to find your breathing air module. Moving underneath this area, you'll find chassis air drains for your wet tank and also front service tank and rear service tanks. Moving back up to the upper portion, you'll find an emergency stop push button. Let's go ahead and move now exterior. This will be just in front of the rear axle. The pan door gains us access into the water pump. This is an on-off switch. Also just to the right, you'll find the water shut-off switch. It is a rotation. And as we move down to the very bottom, you'll find the water outlet. Let's move down just below this area to the rear axle, where you'll find Goodyear tires and Alcoa wheels. As we move back up to the rear of the axle, you'll find a pan door gains us access into the ultra low sulfur diesel fuel and also the blue def cap, which is a 4.5 US gallon tank. Moving to the very rear of the apparatus, we have a through compartment with a tool board that does slide out. This is also the main unit electronics. As we move to the very back section, we'll start in the upper left-hand corner. As we move to the rear section, the upper portion, you do have a digital readout screen. This is presenting information regarding the engine monitor for your Newmar generator. We do have 2 tally lights, generator PTO engaged, and check engine. There's also an audible alarm. The outer edge of this bezel does allow you to rotate to dampen the sound. These are going to be the AC volts and AC amperage for that generator and also fuses. And we also have hertz and AC amps. As we move further down, you'll find the generator hours and also an AC amps. Moving now to the rear section, you'll find the G1. This is the generator breaker panel. There are individual breakers for each of them identified within the lower section. As we move to the rear exterior, you'll find the storage location for your folding wheel chocks. And moving now to the rear section, these are the warning placards. Fall injury, do not ride on the vehicle while it's in motion. And if you're climbing onto the vehicle, always face the vehicle while climbing on. As we move up to the left, you'll find an outlet. As we move further to the right, you'll find an air inlet, and then also a unit identifier 21155. Moving into the compartment in the very rear, you'll find your light tower. This is going to be for the front light tower control module. You'll also find all of our reels located in the very top section for your air and electrical. On the vertical side sheet, you will find a location where you'll find all of your reel reset for the electrical motors. Close up now of the front light bar. This is going to be on the driver's side. A couple close-ups here of your electrical cord reel and also air reels. As we move to the right side of the vehicle, passenger side, you'll also find the control module. This is for the rear light tower. As we move to the left side of the doorway, you'll find the air rewind. This is for breathing air. It's a 50-foot hose. You'll also find the cord rewind for the 200-foot electrical cord, 20 amp. This is your compressor controls. I'll not get into any of the details regarding the use or function of this device. Please see the owner's manual for more detailed information on your compressor. Moving just to the right, you'll find the air reel rewind. This is the push button to activate the reel. This is for the 150-foot breathing air hose. Also in that same vicinity, you'll find your awning control in and out. There are also remotes located in the front cab. As we move to the very rear, you'll find a detachable step that drops downward. As we look to the top, rear scene light, and also at the very top section is a rear awning. As we move to the lower section, this is going to be the refill location. Now let's go and move around to the passenger side of the vehicle. Start at the rear compartment. We do have adjustable shelving. At the very top section, you'll find an outlet. Plugged into that outlet is also your awning control module. Directly over the rear axle is where you'll find the air compressor. As we move exterior now, we'll find a pan door gains us access into the water pump location. There is an on-off switch, green indicator. Also, you have a water shut-off valve. At the very bottom, you have a direct fill and also a water outlet. As we move to the next compartment, the lower tray, you'll find a pull-out tray release mechanism on the lower right, and then also an upper tray release mechanism on the upper right. As we move to the vertical wall, you'll find all of your cartridges for your breathing air. Few images here with those trays pulled in the outward position. Once again, release mechanism located on the right. There is a center cable pull. And at the very bottom section, pull-out tray, release mechanism located on the lower right. As we move to the next forward, D handle gains us access to the step area. This compartment does drop down. We do have additional storage location here. As we move to the very bottom section, you'll find just underneath the shelving area, 120 volt access. This is for your generator. There are additional plugs located here, and then also awning control located on the vertical wall. Let's move into this compartment and get a little bit of a closer look. On the very rear wall of the compartment is where you're going to find the outlet, which is generated power, in addition, additional outlets. As we move to the side wall, you'll find your awning in and out module and also control module for the remote control. At the lower section, you'll find the tray, which does pull out. Release and lock is located on the right side. This does activate as a step area with the four-way on the lower section for getting access to the upper portion. Let's move now back into the cab area. First, we'll start with the door panel. All of our safety and warning placards, in addition with a warning light, grab handle, door lock and latch, and electric window control. There is a fold-down bench on the rear wall. This is not intended to be used while in motion. As we move directly over the bench seat, you'll find additional storage location across the entire rear wall. Moving now forward, just to the rear section of the engine, you'll find additional storage. You'll also find a lift and turn latch in the center. This gains access to the rear portion of the engine, where you'll find your access for daily checks for oil and transmission. Also, just an indication here regarding warning, crash hazard. The seats are not intended to be occupied while the vehicle is in motion. As we move to the passenger side, you'll find a full-length roll-up compartment door, inside adjustable shelving, and also LED lighting. Also located just in front of this compartment is where you'll find, located at the ceiling level, your SETCOM intercom system module. Also within this same vicinity, you'll find the unit air conditioner and then also an external air conditioner, which is the white housing. Let's move now to the passenger seat in the very front. First, starting with the door panel, all of our safety and warning information placards, door lock and latch, grab handle, and electric window control. As we move inside the cab area at about the knee height of the operator sitting in the seat, you'll find the vehicle is equipped with a supplemental restraint system and airbag. Do not mount anything within this area. As we move inside the glove box, you'll also find the remote control storage location for each of the powered awnings. Moving directly behind the seat now is what this image is showing. As we move to the left side of the officer area, you'll find 12-volt access via USB and then also the vehicle data recording port. Let's go ahead and move exterior. We have the cab in the full tilt position upright. When the cab has been fully tilted, on the passenger side frame rail is where you'll find the safety stay arm, which should be put in place when the cab is fully up for safety. As we move to the rear of the apparatus, you'll find the awning now has been deployed. Moving around to the side, this is the passenger side awning fully deployed. A few images here with the light tower, front and rear extended. We'll go ahead and take a look with all compartments in the open position, both passenger and driver side. We also have the compartments fully opened in the rear. Quick video of your emergency warning lights, and then now we'll go ahead and take a look at the engine and transmission area. TAC 4 suspension and torsion rod, unit batteries, jumper studs, front lift cylinder, air inlet and filter, passenger side batteries. As we look overhead, the underside of the cab area, which has been insulated. We do have some additional warning placards located within this area. Let's first start with the cab safety bar. When the cab is fully tilted, once again, this should be deployed. We also have some battery information regarding explosion hazard. And then also we have fan blade spinning without warning. Congratulations, Scottsdale, Arizona, on your new Pierce fire apparatus, job number 35313. If you have any questions regarding your vehicle, please contact your Hughes Fire sales representative. Thank you and congratulations.